And we always say no, because it's not just about, it has to be about, Glastonbury has to evoke just one thing in people's minds, which is the festival and the family who runs it. Michael Eavis, the founder of the festival, is now 75, and he's slowly handing it over to his daughter and her husband. And this is a kind of long-running transition, and I think they're handling it in a very natural way, but also in a very careful way to preserve that thing that, it's a truth, that the festival is this entirely independent entity. It's not, it's the least corporate sponsored event you could ever go to in your life. And it's about the family, it's about the place, and the values that are contained within that.
I think both of you have created brands that speak to that. I mean, there is the Bonnaroo experience, there's the Glastonbury experience, there's multiple reasons why you can't replicate that or not want to replicate that. Given that, there's still a ton of other festivals coming up and exploding, right? I have my own opinion about this. I don't necessarily think there's competition for Glastonbury or competition for Bonnaroo, but they certainly are for other festivals. What are you guys doing to kind of stay ahead of the pack when when you're starting to see other competition in your markets? And maybe we can talk about some of the secondary markets, but at Exit, I mean, are you seeing competition, and are you doing certain things with your own marketing strategy and brand identification to kind of stay
It's
separate?
more to be present like 365 days during the year, and like to know your crowd. And when you know your crowd, you can always offer something more. It's not like once in a life you see them and then never again. It's more like to take good care about your crowd. It's most of the things you already mentioned before. It's like to know who your crowd and to build it not as a concept. It's more like a concept. And it started with the Exit as well in the past, but I will give an example for this year. This year we used Exit as a platform, and we launched a new festival in Montenegro, which is a different country. Serbia is a small country, so we decided to do right after the Exit festival, the festival in Montenegro on a beach. And we did it as an Exit adventure. So we did in 1 week 2 festivals. So we took all our crowd after the Exit festival to the beach side to another festival. And we had like most of the people asking like, you did it because of the same acts have there. No, we didn't have any same acts. Like one act played at the Exit, different acts played at the Sea Dance, but we had like 80% same crew coming to the Exit festival and going to the new one.
Shannon, in the Chinese market, I mean, do you see some of the similar trends? I mean, the Chinese market is exploding exponentially. What are you trying to do to kind of capture that growth for your festival? I mean, you got Zebra and a few others in your market.
In my opinion, I think the festival in China is different with like Western music industry, and the festival in China also different. It's only 15 years history, and we MIDI festival actually it's the oldest one. We start from 2000, and but in the very beginning, it's because we have the music school, and in the first 3 years, the festival is totally free. It's just because no many rock bands. Most of the bands they from our school, and they play music together. Then there's no clubs, no mainstream medias to promote them. So we have the festival. We just entertain ourselves, and then more and more music fans they come over to attend the festival. Then it's big audience, and we move to outside of the school to the park, and then we till now we keep doing that. And now in past 5 years, like from after Beijing Olympics, the festival scene grows very fast, and now there are almost more than 100 festivals in all of China every year, and most of them I don't think most of them it's a real festival because the atmosphere is not bit. It's still very beginning. How to say that? It's less interactive and only get some bands together and with some pop idols share one stage, and yeah, it's like maybe one day, and it's less festival atmosphere. But we doing different with others because we always we want it be a real festival. So and we let people young generation know they can be much freedom during the festival, and yeah, so that's what we're doing now, and like most of the festival in China, they can't sell alcohol, even beer, yeah, and they can't set up the camping site because for some government regulations, laws, yeah. But so it's very difficult to do a real festival like Glastonbury or Bonnaroo.
Right.
Yeah, but
so you've got all these different factors in each of one of your markets, right? For better, for worse. You've got the economy, you've got artist availability, whatever. And this kind of goes to our next question. There's three main things that I think are kind of commonplace in any festival. Obviously, talent, production, and sponsorship or brands. I think one question that most people here would be interested in is first of all, how do you go about booking your talent in general? And then how can artists in Israel and other markets get on your radar? Is there some sort of process like a Sonic Bids or anything like that where people who don't have major agents or major managers or major representation could at least get on your radar to possibly play your festival? Maybe we can start with.
So the question was, how do we book our artists?
And how can artists in Israel and other countries get on your radar?
Well, I don't know. So I guess first of all, I need to like them. So we are a commercial festival. We rely on the tickets we sell. So sometimes I can afford to slip one or two or a couple of artists which are not very famous in our country or with our audience, but basically I need to follow the wish of the audience. We have we developed an internet site where we ask our audience whom do you want to see at Siget or at Volt Festival or at Balaton Sound, whatever, and we take into account the answers we have from there. That's a little bit tricky sometimes. So at the beginning when we started that, I remember that there was a Finnish artist called Him. Maybe you know them. They had a very handsome singer, and him was leading the wish list and we said, so why not? So let's try to book him to the festival, and we had them there, and it was a little bit disappointing because hardly people showed up in the audience, and then we realized that there were probably 26, 15 years old girls who were in love with a singer, and they would press the wish list as many times a day.
Good for them.
And so then we developed a parallel wish list. So we have a Hungarian and non-Hungarian, and like this we can always compare and to realize that where is the balance. So and so this is the basic way to check the artist. Obviously, if it's written there on the wish list that they want to have Daft Punk, and Daft Punk is not working, so it's not very much we can do about that. So we need to look into the market with on the artists who are working in our period. But more or less, this is the way we do our booking.
So you have a mechanism for your local fans to suggest and or request artists. Many festivals have the same, some don't. But is it mostly for you guys to go after agents and bands that you like, or are you I'm sure all you guys are fielding tons and tons of requests from agents and just kind of going through that process?
No, for us it's unfortunately we are not Glastonbury. So I was talking to Steve and to Malcolm from Glastonbury. They need to learn how to say no to the agents. I need to try to convince the agents to say yes to me. So Hungary is a small market.
Based on the market, sure.
And regardless how good our festivals are, or regardless of how good care we take of the artists or of the audience, when it comes to for them to take a decision, there is always the record sales on the table. So we cannot compete with Germany, we cannot compete with Japan, we cannot compete with America. So those are the biggest markets for them for selling records, and so managers, I guess, when they have to choose now how to organize the summer tour, they will say, yeah, after all, Sziget is a nice place, so if there is space in the tour, why not do it? But so more or less, this is the level we are at, unfortunately.
Oren, with just based on something he was saying, I mean, you've got some Israeli artists that have been able to break out and play the worldwide festival circuit. I mean, you've got Infected Mushroom, Borgor, Balkan Beatbox. What do you recommend for people in the crowd, or just Israeli artists in general, to be able to get to the level where some of these international festival promoters are starting to take notice, whether they have representation or not?
Go out and tour. I reckon it's that easy. I'm not a big expert in the field, but I'm pretty sure that the stuff that works on incoming traffic works on outgoing traffic too, and the more you make a name for yourself out there, wherever it is, the more you'll get noticed, and it'll be easier to come up to any of these guys and say, I want a slot. It's a little different here in the festival sense, because the festival culture as a whole is very new and very it's not really ingrained here as it is in a lot of other places. And if he's saying we're not Glastonbury, I'm saying we're not Sziget. We're not anywhere near this. The whole concept of going to an event and sleeping there and it being about the experience and more than just about the music isn't something that has been achieved here in the last 20 years. There was a big festival years ago who did it very well. There is a festival that's been running for 6 or 7 years, small local indie festival that's been doing a brilliant job of creating that experience. But that gig aside, everything else is more, it's baby steps. It's starting to get the crowd accustomed to the idea of coming in early and seeing not only the headliner that you bought a ticket for, but seeing the rest of the shit that we put on the bill, which could be just as interesting, if not more. And in terms of exporting it out, I mean, you see a lot of the Israeli acts where the local festival slots or the support slots for international acts that are coming in are very important, because when they do try to email Steve and say, hey, I want to come play Glastonbury, at least they can say I was on the bill with so-and-so in my hometown. But it's just about putting yourself out there as much as you can, I guess.
Totally. And with all that, and this kind of goes into our next topic, with festivals, what's starting to happen is a lot of these festivals are starting to look the same. They all have the exact same lineups, just switch the date, switch the weekend, switch the year. Pearl Jam this year, Pearl Jam next year, whatever. There's two other things. I love Pearl Jam. There's two other things that I think that are important, obviously, and I actually happen to think sponsorship is very, very